Umami in matcha. What the hell is this mythical flavor that is in every single matcha description? If you don't know what it is, how can you taste it? So let's talk about umami today. But before umami, you need to understand what astringency, sweetness, bitterness, and obviously umami, because these flavors stack and become this entire experience that matcha provides. So umami to me, because it's different to everyone, is that salty savoriness. Is very subtle. It's not like a bag of chips where you eat the chips and it's salty. You're like, oh yeah, this is the salty chips that I really like. And it's not like a grain of salt because matcha is not meant to be salty. So umami is a subtle savoriness. But umami by itself on its own is a hollow flavor. If you want to taste what umami is like, just go to your kitchen and grab the MSG. Dab that on your tongue, little crystal. Sometimes it stings, sometimes it doesn't, and you will find that it tastes like nothing. It's a hollow flavor. It doesn't do anything. That's because MSG is an amplifier. It multiplies. It stacks with everything else, but on its own, it doesn't do anything. And that's the problem with umami in matcha. You won't find umami in supermarket matchas because the matcha is so low quality that it just won't be there. Now the question naturally becomes, where the hell do you get umami and how do you get the most out of it? The first thing you want to do is grab some expensive matcha, typically a first harvest ceremonial grade. First harvest just means it's the first time of the year where the farmers get the tools and get the matcha out from the tea plants. If it doesn't say first harvest, don't worry, just make sure it's ceremonial because most of the time you will find it in ceremonial. To get the most umami out of your matcha tea, the first thing you want to do is make sure the brewing parameters is correct. And one of the most important thing in matcha tea is the temperature control. And it's even more important if you want that umami because too hot, you're gonna burn your matcha. Too cold, it won't be released into the matcha tea. It can't be extracted by this heat. So the right brewing temperature for umami is between 70 to 80. 85 is kind of pushing it. At 90, you will just ruin everything. Next is the ratio of your water to the matcha powder. Think about it as an espresso shot. When you have an espresso, the barista tamps it for you and extracts it into a liquid, tiny little shot. When you drink that espresso shot, you won't know what these flavors are about. All you can taste is probably like a bitterness, acidic taste, like battery acid or something. But to a seasoned pro, it's like, man, this is fruity. Got some cranberries in it. Like they can taste everything because they've been drinking espressos for a very long time. But to a beginner, umami is not going to be something that you can taste because you have to develop your taste buds. And how do you develop your taste buds? Well, stop drinking matcha lattes and drink the goddamn thing on its own. The matcha lattes, you mix it with milk, you're not gonna find umami in it because the matcha flavors is being either balanced or subdued by the milk. It's gonna dial everything back. And because umami, remember I said, is so hollow, it's just a multiplier, you won't taste it at all. Now the next question is, how do I actually get the umami out of my drink? Besides the brewing parameters, you need to whisk it correctly. If you have an electric frother, it's going to be harder to extract the flavors out because you want to have a smaller shot, a smaller water to matcha powder ratio. For this matcha that I'm currently drinking, I found that between 60 to 70 is a sweet spot. Next is you want to use a matcha whisk. And with the matcha whisk, you want to use it in a way that's going to extract most of the flavors out. By that, you want a layer of froth right at the top. What that means is all the flavonoids, antioxidants, everything is extracted and developed as you are whisking it. So you need a bamboo whisk most of the time to get more umami out. See how frothy this matcha is? That's when you know your umami is being developed and it's gonna stack with all these other flavors. If your matcha is flat, you won't find the umami because it won't be there. It won't be developed. To taste the umami, take your time to sip your matcha tea. Matcha is a slow and arduous process. Take the time, sit down, don't rush this, do it slowly. Don't just chug it down because you won't find it like that. Every time you have a sip, let the flavors come to you and see if you can find that saltiness or that savoriness. But remember, it's not a deep saltiness, right? It's a subtle saltiness. It's an amplifier or a multiplier of these other flavors that makes this matcha or tea an experience to drink.